I'm furious. My wife demanded I quit my job for a worse one, and now keeps throwing it in my face. I, 32M, have been married to my wife, 29F, for 3 years. We've been together 7. When we met I was a student, and I always told her that I will probably be working at a hospital and my hours will be terrible. It was going to be rough, but that's my dream. I studied hard, excelled and got accepted to a very demanding, but very rewarding position at a large hospital. That, unfortunately but not unexpectedly, meant absolutely terrible hours, as well as getting calls at odd hours, working weekends and holidays and often being on call. It was really difficult, but I definitely felt like I was working my dream job, and I was doing really great, I felt. When my daughter was born 9 months ago things got pretty bad at home. Me and my wife were bickering about basically everything, and even the most benign conversation would spiral into a fight on a dime. I would talk about the hospital shopping center's pizza being actually really good, and she'd call me out for having time to get pizza while she felt like she was drowning, which was maddening, because we got coupons from administration and no breaks to use them. I'd eat over the sink in the break room for 10 minutes before rushing back out, then I'd come home to sleepless days, nights etc. as I was still trying to be a present husband and parent, and have to listen to how I could just run off to work and never had to deal with real parenthood. It was hell. Slowly over weeks my job became a demon hanging over our relationship. Everything was my job's fault. Our life would be perfect if I just found a job with better hours. It would save our marriage, everything would be great. I tried telling my wife that if we had issues, it couldn't just be my job that was causing it, and that when our daughter was older she'd start sleeping through the night, things would get easier, but my wife refused to accept it, and accused me of not listening to her. She kept saying how alone she felt, how she was drowning. I needed to quit my job. So I did. I quit. For the next 2 months or so as I was looking for a new job I was mostly at home, taking care of our daughter, and it was great, she's adorable, best baby in the world, as my wife went back to her own job. About 3 months ago I started a new job, and since my wife went back to work, our baby started daycare. My new job is, and I say this with all due respect, mind-numbing. I'm basically a glorified paper pusher, but I get to go home at 2:30 p.m., pick up our girl and go home. No one calls me after hours. I don't work weekends. I hate my job, but I know it's a great job, and I do it for my family. You know that Simpsons bit, do it for her. My wife, meanwhile, is working long hours in tech, coming home at 6 to 7 p.m., tired and hangry. I thought that this new normal was going to be better, but no, everything still sucks and still my fault. Previously I was working so much and couldn't appreciate what it meant to spend the entire day alone with a baby. Now I work such convenient hours and get to spend time with my daughter, so I can't appreciate how hard it is to work long hours and never be home. My wife just will not listen. Any attempt to explain that the reason I currently work convenient hours at a job I hate is that she demanded I quit the work I love that had terrible hours, because she said I needed to be more present at home and everything wrong was my fault, but somehow her working terrible hours and not being present is also my fault because I work convenient hours, and so I can't possibly understand how difficult things are for her. It's a nightmare, I just can't catch a break. And it's like she completely ignored everything I said, all the times I warned her about how hard things were going to be, and then when things are hard it's all my fault, and also I can't possibly understand how hard things are. And the worst part is feeling like it isn't me and her facing hardships together, it's constantly being made to feel like I'm part of the hardship she's facing. And I absolutely hate it. I was doing my best when I was working all the time, and I'm doing my best now. I clean the house. I do dishes and laundry. I cook what I can, but sometimes I don't have time, and then it's, we're eating out all the time, or, the baby can't have processed baby food, you need to blend veggies. And I don't have the time to do everything, but the house is clean, we have clean clothes, and if we eat out, it can't be a huge deal every time. I also really hate the comparison to when she was on maternity leave, because the circumstances are different. When I was at home looking for work I was on it, much like she mostly was, but now, even though my hours are convenient I do work, and I do take care of our daughter, and being constantly berated for minor stuff is getting very, very frustrating. And every time it's, you barely work, why can't you cook more? Because I can't. I do work. And I do a bunch of other stuff too. And when she was doing it I was wrong for not appreciating how hard all that stuff was, and now I'm wrong for claiming it was hard. I just don't know what to do.
Relevant comments. Amy May. Sincere question. What do you want? Do you want to be back at your old job? Do you want to have less time with your baby again? In your ideal world, not your wife's, would you never have quit? Would you go back tomorrow if you could? Or would you want to wait and go back 6 months from now or a year when the baby's a little older? Independent of what your wife says, have you been glad you got to spend valuable bonding time with your baby that you didn't previously have? If yes, then you can at least be glad you did this for that one thing in this one moment in time, even if it didn't help your marriage, since as others are saying, sounds like the PPD is making your wife look at the world through rage-colored glasses. The best advice anyone gave my husband and I when we were pregnant is this: my spouse is not the enemy. The baby is the enemy. We would repeat that mantra over and over when getting unfairly frustrated with each other over the sleepless nights and the skewed views of equitable, etc. Pregnancy and childbirth really fucks with your brain. I'm not saying that excuses your wife's behavior at all, though it does explain it. I could have so easily fallen into the same toxic pattern as she did. I could feel my brain going there before I got on meds for my PPD. But this mantra saved us. Instead of us against each other, it was us together against the baby. LOL. Never contribute 1. Everyone is saying couples counseling and maybe she has PPD. Ask yourself, and be honest, was she incapable of seeing things from your perspective before the baby? Because if so, no amount of counseling or waiting for PPD to improve will help. You sound understandably resentful at this point after trying to accommodate her by doing something pretty extreme at her demand with zero recognition for it and zero ownership of the outcome. Is that who she has always been? If so, divorce lawyer stat. If not, your only chance is to agree on an arrangement together where she also accepts that there are big challenges to any balance of work, child care, and chores in a marriage with a baby.